Hello, hey, this is David with Mudslinger Pottery. I'm out in the studio and I am working on colanders. I've been had a little success with these. I've sold a few on Etsy and I just love how they're coming out. So I'm in the middle of making another one. I'll set this over here and I wanted to let you join me as I work on cutting the holes for the colander, maybe show a little tips, give little ideas on how I do it, and also talk about why you might want to consider selling your pottery for 50% off. So let's move this camera and we'll get started. Okay, so I've thrown the form yesterday. Here it is. There goes my hole punch. And I'm using just a pretty straightforward hole punch and a needle tool to get this done. I have, when I first started making colanders, I found out that making the hole too small is an issue because once you glaze it, the glaze will fill in that hole and narrow it. It'll shrink and it'll narrow. And so some of the early ones I did, I had issues. It would not drain very well. So, you know, that's one of those things where you work and you learn and you fix something. I heard one time that an artist makes something and then spends the rest of their life trying to make it better. So as with anything I've done as far as pots, I have kept trying to improve them, make them better than they were the first attempt. So anyways, I recently completed a wholesale order. I've done a few of them, but this was quite a large one. I had 112 pots in this order, and they're going to be shipped to Ocracoke, North Carolina. I've got all of them done, and they are on tables in my living room, and I have to pack them up, and hopefully the gallery owner is going to have someone come by and pick up, or I can meet them somewhere and drop the pots off, and then they'll just ship them to her. They won't ship them to her, they'll take them to her. So I won't have to pack them up for shipping. I just have to pack them up to be in the back of somebody's car. So that was pretty good as far as I was concerned. So what I'm doing here is I'm just punching the hole into a pattern, trying to make it look fairly decent. But I don't measure or, you know, lay out what I'm doing. It's a handmade pot, and I am fine if the holes don't line up perfectly. So anyways, I got to thinking, there's probably a lot of people who have heard about wholesaling, maybe know a little bit about it, and maybe not as much. So when I told a friend of mine that I was going to do this wholesale order, she said, "Well, why in the world would you want to do that? You're going to sell it for 50%. Wouldn't you rather take it to a festival and sell it there?" And I told her, yes, I would much rather take everything to the festivals and sell everything at the festival, but that doesn't happen. So I'll go to a festival and I'll spend $100, maybe $150 for an entry fee. I've spent a lot of money on my tent, my tables, my layout, and go out there and spend a day and set up and pray it doesn't rain or get to be 100 degrees. And the whole time I'm there, I'm enjoying the heck out of it because I enjoy selling at festivals and meeting customers and chatting with them. But you're not in the studio working, so you're losing time as far as time you could be making something. So the idea behind wholesaling is you find a gallery who is willing to carry your work, and you discount your work usually by 50%. So if you're selling a mug for $30, you sell it to the gallery for $15. Now this sounds crazy. I mean, you know, to a lot of people. And there are some things you have to consider before you ever wholesale. And one of those is, how are you pricing your pots currently? Because you want to be able to sell your pots for the same price that the gallery's selling. You don't want to sell your pot at a festival for $20 and then charge the gallery owner $15 for that pot and have her charge $30 for the pot. That's not the idea behind the whole wholesale retail relationship. So she placed an order for this wholesale order that I have, and she gave me she wanted 112 pots. So I made the 112 pots plus a few extras just in case I had some issues. And the nice thing about that is I will give her, or have her delivered the 112 pots. She'll hand me a check. I don't have all those pots sitting around in inventory. Everything I made has been sold. So it's a nice little paycheck. And if you're not at a point where everything you make gets sold and you have the time to make a few more pots, it's not a bad idea to look into wholesaling. If you're new to it, I would suggest trying to find someplace close to where you live so that you don't have to package them up and ship them, which is always a headache. And usually the gallery will pay for the shipping or some amount of it. It just depends on which gallery you're talking to. You kind of have to work that out. But if you can sell to a local gallery, or one that's just close enough that you can drive to and drop off, you save the hassle of shipping, which when you're shipping 112 pots is a little daunting, to say the least. So the other things you have to consider is what you're making. If you're making things that take you an excessive amount of time to make, it's probably best if you're not wholesaling, or if you're selling everything you make. But there's nothing like making a bunch of pots and handing them off, never having to see them again, and putting a check in your pocket. So I'd love to hear stories of good and bad wholesaling problems. I mean, I've heard of people who didn't get paid from the galleries, and there's that. So make sure you're dealing with a decent gallery. But wholesaling can definitely be a great way to expand your reach for your pottery, expand new collectors, new people who want to buy your work. Because if they are buying your pottery from a gallery, a lot of times those people will look you up to see what else you sell. And when the pots that I sell for my wholesale order are not necessarily pots that I sell, some of my bigger work. They're pots that I can make fairly quickly. I'm not spending a lot of time on glazing, and so I am still making a decent profit on that piece of pottery, even though I'm wholesaling it and taking 50% off the price. So a lot of things with the colanders, one of the big thing about colanders is you really have to catch this at the right moisture level. I think that's probably the biggest lesson you learn as a potter is when you can touch something. So if this is too wet, when I make these holes, they are going to just move and get sloppy. If I let them get too dry, they're going to chip. So you've got to get that pot at the point where it's maybe a little soft, leather hard, so that you can just push the punch through, make a nice hole. Now on the other side, and I'll show you that when I'm done, the other side of this, the holes are not as nice as the holes on the outside. They're not as crisp and clean, and will take a little bit of cleaning up. But the nice thing about that is glaze will cover up a lot of issues. All right, I'm down to 3 holes here, and this one will be done. So I've got a couple of these. I've got 3 of them, and I will punch all the holes, and then I will go back and add a handle to them, and then I'm ready to let them dry up and throw them in the bisque kiln. So here it is. If I pick this up, there should be a lot of little holes. There we go, right there. So you can see the inside is not as pretty as the outside, but I will clean up a little bit, get any big pieces out of there, and then what I'll do is I'll let it dry up a little bit, and I can let it dry up and come back and touch it up, or I use a needle tool to get some of the little slivers that are stuck in there. But when it dries up a little bit, I can come back with a damp sponge, and I can just, like in a circular motion, go over top of all these holes and just kind of clean them up a little bit. So thanks for joining me on my colanders here and talking about wholesaling. Just want to thank everyone who has commented, liked, and subscribed to my channel. I am working hard at trying to make better videos, make better content, and maybe upgrade my camera and microphones. So I hope you'll continue along with me on my journey here, and I hope that we can kind of build a community of potters and share some ideas and maybe help everyone out. So don't forget to hit the like button. Drop a comment down there. I will try my best to reply. I usually do. And hit that subscribe button to just kind of keep me motivated and adding new videos to my channel. So if you're a potter, I hope you can get out and make some pots. And if you are a pottery buyer or pottery fan, I hope you can get out and purchase some of these beautiful pots that so many of these creative people are making. So thanks a lot. This has been David with Mudslinger Pottery. Y'all have a good day. Bye.